Today I'm gonna talk about Vlad III of Wallachia. Vlad Tepes, Vlad the Impaler, son of the Dragon. This guy had many names, but you probably know him best as Dracula. This town in Transylvania is called Sighisoara, and this is the birthplace of Vlad Tepes. He lived here in a 3-story house with his dad between 1431 and 1435. His dad was Vlad II, also called Dracul, the Dragon. He got that name when he joined the Order of the Dragon, founded by the Holy Roman Emperor Sigismund. Vlad II, the Dragon, was ruler of Wallachia, a small country between the Holy Roman Empire and the Ottoman Empire, and he pledged his support against the Ottoman Empire. However, when there was internal conflict in the Holy Roman Empire, he started to passively support the Ottomans by letting their armies pass through his land. And when the Ottomans were defeated, he switched sides again, and no one really knew where his support lay. Basically, he was trying to rule a country between two superpowers who kept pressing him. Since Vlad III was son of Vlad II, Dracul, he was called Dracula, which means son of the dragon. After many years of pretty complex scheming and politics, both Vlad III's father and older brother died, leaving him as a candidate for the Wallachian throne. With support from the Ottomans, our boy Dracula tried to seize the throne, but failed. After more scheming and switching sides, he eventually invaded Wallachia in 1456 with the aid of the Hungarians instead. As Prince of Wallachia, Vlad III fought against the Transylvanian Saxons, he fought against the Ottomans, and he had heated arguments with the Hungarians. Basically, he was fighting tooth and nail to keep Wallachia independent, and that's where his reputation for violence and cruelty started. His favorite method of executing people was by impaling them, and that's how he got his name, Vlad Tepes, Vlad the Impaler. Outside of Wallachia, Vlad III was known for his tyrannical justice and his bloody and violent ways of executing people. He executed enemies of state, he executed prisoners, he executed monks, he basically executed everyone. Stories like this really inspired a man called Bram Stoker, who in the late 1800s wrote a horror novel called Dracula. But he knew very little of the history of Wallachia and of Vlad Tepes. In the novel, for example, Dracula is descended from Attila the Hun, which the real Vlad III of course is not. And there's really nothing else in the novel that matches the historical figure of Dracula, except for the name. So what am I doing standing in line here? Well, I'm queuing to get into Draculas Castle. This is Bram Castle, called Dracula's Castle, which is of course complete rubbish, because Vlad Tepes never had anything to do with this castle, and neither did Dracula from Bram Stoker's novel. There has been a castle here since 1212, but that was a wooden castle. There wasn't a stone castle here until 1377. Vlad Tepes never ruled this castle. In fact, he never set his foot inside this castle, because this whole territory was hostile to him. For a while there were rumors that Dracula had been imprisoned here, and that would have made it some connection at least. But it turned out that that was a fortress in Budapest instead. Are you a little hellhound, Dracula's hound? No, you're not. The description of the castle in Bram Stoker's Dracula novel doesn't fit Bram Castle either, so calling it Dracula's Castle is just to attract tourists. Still, I can enjoy some touristy and kitschy stuff now and then, so let's go full of vampire mode as we explore Dracula's Castle. I guess I was missing some thunderstorms and lightning, but yeah, that was Bram Castle, Dracula's Castle. Half theme park, half history, very touristy, but still pretty fun to visit. This is the city of Brasov, which seems to have had a bit of a complicated history with Vlad the Impaler. Brasov is located in Transylvania, which was under Saxon rule for a lot of the time. Dracula himself razed towns around Brasov, but at other times he promised to protect the Transylvanians against the Ottomans. Vlad wanted to settle down in Brasov, but that apparently never happened. And he used to call the burghers of Brasov his good sisters and brothers. And King Matthias Corvinus of Hungary ordered Brasov to invade Wallachia at one time. So the relationship between Brasov and Dracula must have been a bit strained and weird. In later years, Romanian nationalism started to view Vlad Tepes in a new light. He was viewed as one of Romania's greatest leaders, fighting for independence against insurmountable odds. They view his acts of cruelty as completely logical steps taken to secure his lands, and his acts of terror was the only way to stop all the infighting and scheming that took place. Many modern Romanians actually view him as a model of courage and patriotism, and that is one of the historical figures that have helped shape the destiny of Romania for the better. And something to always keep in mind when dealing with history, many of the tales of Dracula's cruelty were of course written by his enemies. I'm now crossing a bridge to get to the island of the Snagov Monastery. It was founded in the 1300s, and this is where I can find the remains of Vlad Tepes, Dracula. Or at least that's what the locals say. They want to capitalize on those rumors, and they even had plans to open a Dracula park here in 2006. But those plans were cancelled. Modern historians say that it's unlikely that Dracula was buried here. Most likely he was buried in the Comana area, near Brasov. Interestingly enough, a church in Naples, Italy, also has a tomb that they claim might belong to Dracula as well. The story of Vlad Tepes, Dracula, is a pretty complex one. Was he a bloodthirsty monster, or was he a hero who fought for independence? It's probably impossible to say for sure, but the truth is often found somewhere in between. I hope you enjoyed this little journey in Dracula's footsteps. Like and subscribe, but most importantly, have a great day.